duelists, it is I, Hellgear, and this is my take on a ban list prediction video. I don't normally do these sorts of things, but I figured I'd give it a shot now. So hopefully I can get this out and you guys are catching this before the December 15th, apparently, ban list hits the winter seasons. So, as always, be sure to like the video, sub, and ring the bell. And most importantly, comment in the comment section down below in the event of you disagreeing with what I have to say, agreeing with what I have to say, or pointing me out on a discussion for something that I have missed. So, for this discussion, I'm going to break it down into a couple of categories. Cards that should be banned, cards that should be limited, cards that should be semi-limited, cards that should be fair play, or not going anywhere at all, and most importantly, the bring back cards. So, let's get down to it. And I'm going to start things off with the second elephant in the room. Yeah, I'm going with the second biggest elephant in the room first, and not the biggest elephant in the room. And that is Union Carrier. I like to play with Union Carrier. This is one of the most interesting forms of stun unintentionally created. Sip my water really fast. Gotta love water. By design, it's intended for ABC, but apparently this Link 2 is the primary stun card used in the meta. And MCO40 himself said that Union Carrier shouldn't be banned in December, but Konami will have to address this card sometime down the line. And here's the thing. If Union Carrier does get hit, and I'm hoping that it does, it'll be a sad day because it's in a lot of people's extra decks. But here's the other thing that I want to talk about. Union Carrier is a harbinger Link 2, kind of like another one that I will talk about a little bit later on. It's a harbinger for Dragon Buster, the Destruction Sword. Since the majority of the decks in the meta are either using monsters of the dragon type or of dark attribute, because the majority of monsters are dark attribute, this card is splashable in a lot of decks, and it does the exact same thing. You link 2 into Union Carrier, you Union Carrier into Dragon Buster to put it in the back row, and you've essentially turned your opponent into caveman duel monsters duelists, because they can't play with their extra decks. And duelists are crying foul about this. Now, I personally don't think they'll hit Dragon Buster the Destruction Sword, and I'm going to place the Union Carrier right here because we're still talking about it. I personally don't think they're going to hit this, mainly for a couple of reasons. First and foremost is the Buster Blader deck. Now, to those of you who forgot, Destruction Sword Buster Blader is a gold letter rare in Maximum Gold. And usually when they do products like this that have supportive series, they don't necessarily hit them, to my knowledge. But, gotta sell the product. And it's nice to get Buster Blader decks back into the limelight. Especially that one duelist who managed to top with the Buster Blader glue deck not too long ago, this fall. And here's the thing. Should Dragon Buster get hit, it's going to alter the Buster Blader deck. I personally think that instead of hitting Dragon Buster, that you errata it so it only locks you out of the extra deck if it's equipped to a Destruction Sword card or a Buster Blader. I'll let you guys be the judge on that one. Now, some will say that Dragon Buster should take the ban hit instead of Union Carrier, and I'm going to say it like this. If that's the case, if that's how you want to do it, You're going to leave Union Carrier alone and ban Dragon Buster because locking people out of decks and meta decks better than the Monarch Field Spell, which locks their opponent out of the extra decks, but is in a deck that has more bricks than the third little piggy's house. So I digress, I guess. Guess what? You're going to be seeing a lot more barrier statues in the future, because here's the thing. Barrier statue, as one of the decks has shown, I believe, from our good friend Jeff Leonard, and we'll talk more about him a little bit later, Barrier Stun is quite the deck. And trust me, barrier statues are a good stun format for this card. Now, the big elephant in the room. Virtually fracking dragon. True king of all calamities. Almost every duelist wants to see this card gone, and for good reason. It's essentially 2 detaches to shut off your opponent's side of the field. They can't do squat to you. And the funny thing about it is Baguska, the Terribly Tired Taper, in defense position, does almost the exact same thing. The only difference is you have to detach with Baguska, and it's on a 2-turn timer. But the 2 cards that you use, the 2 level 9s for VFD, are not on a timer. Plus, Baguska is not a 3K body. It doesn't have that 3 racks of attack and 3 racks in the back that shuts down cards. But in defense position, this shuts down cards anyway. The big problem with it is that Virtual World can pull 2 True Kings of all calamities. One to resolve in the graveyard thanks to their trap, because duelists don't play traps unless it's solemn or infinite impermanence. Yeah, I said it. You know it's true. Tell me I'm lying in the comment section below if I am. And then after the first one is resolved in the graveyard, as a backup, they'll take the level 9s and make a second True King of all calamities. Now look, True King of all calamities is a pretty decent monster. Dinosaur decks used to run it back in the day. Fluffle decks use it because Fluffles take, 2 of their killer whales, their Frightfur killer whales as a rogue option, and do this. I've even seen Penguin decks run True King. I think that was in MCO 40's Penguin build. He had VFD in there. Or somebody's Penguin deck had VFD. But here's the thing. We want to be able to interact with our opponents, so we got to get rid of the True King. So you got to go. Now, third elephant in the room, and I don't have the card because it's an older card, Smoke Grenade of the Thief. Obviously, this is a jab at Infernoble Knights, but I've seen Gokis pull this off. There are other decks as well as Infernoble Knight that allow you to rip a card from your opponent's hand multiple times for free. Obviously, our opponents don't like getting cards snatched out of their hands because that's not cool. The funny thing is, they have no problems when their opponent hits them with a Pointer of the Red Lotus, which gives them hand knowledge, and then they can rip a card out of your hand. But hey, you're paying 2,000 life points, and you have to wait a turn to activate this trap. Well, all you have to do with Smoke Grenade of the Thief is equip it, get rid of it, and then snatch. Yoink, yoink, yoink. Ah, man, equip spells that need to be gone in 2020, 2021. Smoke Grenade for 500, Leah. 500. Thank you, Alex Trebek. We miss you, my man. Now let's talk about another card, and I don't have that one, but I want to bring this up right now, and that is Predaplant Verte Anaconda. I'm playing devil's advocate here because, frankly, This is the second most expensive card out of what? Duel Overload. Second to none, not only in sales, but also in the tournament, to Crystron Needle Fiber. Now let's be frank. Both of these cards are harbingers for two different engines. Needle Fiber is a harbinger for the synchronizers in the deck, because they'll take whatever synchron they have, get that on the field, and then link this away for another card that they want banned, going by the name of Link Cross, which generates tokens for Martial Metal Marcher, and then off you go. Obviously, Konami got this wrong by banning two of the main tuners used for Needle Fibrax, thinking it would fix the problem. So, of course, they want Needle Fiber gone. Everybody wants Needle Fiber gone. I want Needle Fiber gone. But to play devil's advocate, when you take Needle Fiber out of the equation, you leave the power vacuum for the Green Snake. And here's why. Green Snake is a fusionist harbinger. It's one of the cards that led to Red Eye's Dragoon being banned on October 1st in the OCG, as duelists would use this, dump Red Eye's Fusion, and the two bricks, Red Eyes and Dark Magician, to go along with it, and have multiple variations of the card. Are they going to hit Dragoon here? Who knows? We'll see. If they're not doing that, they're pitching Neos Fusion for the regular Elemental Hero Neos and Rainbow Dragon to pull Rainbow Neos as a LDE. If you do decide to ban Needle Fibrax but not ban this, this is going to have the ability to fill that power vacuum, and vice versa. It's not just, oh, we can get rid of one and everybody else will be happy. These two cards are going to power vacuum each other. So whether or not you ban one or the other, that other is going to suck up the power vacuum. Getting rid of both might just save the game, or I'm just flat out crazy. Now, one other card that I want to talk about that might get hit is a favorite little friend of mine, and I want to pull him out because I have the deck right here, one of them which I use him in, and that is our good friend Hoppier Squadron. Here's the deal. A lot of duelists don't understand the importance of Hoppier Squadron, so I'll make it clear in the way he works. He is level 2 deck tech to go into Herald of the Arclight. Some people think that Herald of the Arclight should get hit. They're sorely mistaken. If they do hit this, this will take away a very evil strategy that Melfi decks will use, and another level 2 deck that's getting support in Blazing Vortex known as Ojama. Ojamas are level 2 beasts, and Hopbeard Squad in that deck will give the Ojamas access to Herald of the Arclight. I can see Konami hitting this, getting this, the ban hammer. It may be a long shot, but I can see this coming, especially since it's Herald of the Arclight summon on your opponent's turn at quick play speed. Kind of like back in the day when people used the Phantom Knights launch for Outer Entity as a thought. Food for thought. Alright, now let's go to the one-ofs. Obviously, duelists don't like the Dinosaur deck because they want Miscellaneous Saurus gone. Well, not necessarily gone, but they want it limited. Look, Miscellaneous Saurus has been limited before, it's been semi-limited before, it's been at full strength before, and dinosaurs continue to evolve. Putting this jab on Dinosaur duelists, even if Dinosaur duelists agree that Miscellaneous Saurus is unfair, is not really going to solve too much of an issue. They'll just find a way to evolve past having it. And frankly, it's only being used in Dinosaur decks as a way to nullify Nibiru. So, really, that's not the jab that you want to take towards, again, Team Samurai X and all of the Tyranno Hasselberry wannabes out there. But here's the thing. If you guys really want the Dinosaur deck to be hitting really bad, you really want this rogue option that is meta to hurt, you don't hit Miscellaneousaurus. Let me give you two cards that you hit. You hit these guys. Ryan Yu, I believe, was the most recent duelist running a Dinosaur deck, and he had 3 copies of Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. I've yet to see the deck that can functionally run on one Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. If it's out there, link me to it so I can see it and then make a retraction later. Fossil Dig, however, is a warranted hit. Let's be frank, folks. A lot of decks that have a Rota have had that Rota used. Look at Salamangreat Circle. They limited that because it was used a lot. Dino decks have 3 Fossil Digs, and this is essentially their Rota. You want to slow down the consistency of a Dinosaur deck? Limit Fossil Dig. Put that at 1. It'll slow down Dinosaur decks a lot. And yes, it will slow them down a lot because, again, almost every Dinosaur build is running it at 3. That's all I'm going to say as far as one card onlys in the current meta. Now let's go into the Deuces. And frankly, I only have one particular card for the Deuces. And that's Gamma. Yeah, I'm a madman for saying put Sci-Frame Gear Gamma at 2. But look at it this way. Decks are using this card a lot. They're using this hand trap a lot. It is, to the eye of many duelists, the best hand trap in the meta. Sci-Frame Gear Gamma, or as I like to call it, the Golfer's hand trap, should be a semi-limited card. It doesn't necessarily hurt as bad, but it is a nice little check for them. Why do I call it the Golfer's hand trap? Well, it's easy. Sci-Frame Gear Gamma is like a golfer. And every good golfer likes to bring along their favorite driver. Okay, bad joke, I get it. I don't have any cards that should come to 3. So, let's talk about cards that should stay where they are. And the big one that should stay where they are is Called by the Grave. Look, everybody's been playing with 3 copies of this, and now it's limited. The big issue is because it slows down combo decks. Look, having one Called by the Grave, when I saw it on the ban list, and many of you who've seen my ban list reaction to one Called by the Grave, that was a shocker. But it's not so bad, especially since in most of my builds I only ran 2 of these anyway. Running this at 1 is fine. Decks are still managing to hold their own. A lot of decks are topping with only one Called by the Grave, if not winning with one Called by the Grave. So it's not that big of a hurt. There are other cards that you can use in that instance. Skullmeister is one nice replacement. DD Crow is another. And this one Gravedigger's Trap card that works like a slower Called by the Grave. I forget the name of it. It's Gravedigger something. I'll look it up later and make a pin about it in the comment section when I figure out what it is. Frankly, this needs to stay at 1, at least a little while longer. Especially since the gold letter rare version of this card is nice and is being outstocked. Alright. Other cards that should stay where they are, I don't have any. Now let's talk about cards that should come back. Obviously, the big one is Electromite. Yes, shout outs to Triff. Look, I got nothing against pendulum decks, but as we saw with Rusty Bardiche, because it was banned and is now limited thanks to Phantom Rage and Phantom Knight support, we already know that Electromite is coming back for the pendulum support. It's not because of the Metal Foe stuff, that's just the business reason. Oh, we're giving duelists more Metal Foe support. Well, Electromite is banned, so if we want our duelists to pick up this Metal Foe stuff, we gotta unban the pendulum Electromite. So, they're going to limit this card. That's how they'll bring it back. They'll bring it back by simply limiting Heavy Metal Foe's Electromite. That's the thing, because again, they did it with Rusty Bardiche. And, as you guys saw, Rusty Bardiche sales are up. The legendary hero decks, which one of them is the PK deck, where we get Rusty Bardiche, and this has also affected the sales of the premium gold rare Rusty Bardiche. At least that's what I'm told. Now, because it's a deck that's hit the spotlight, and because it is also limited on here, I'm thinking that Zodiac should get a little bit of love. Dryden at 1 is fine. But I was thinking more along the lines of Broad Bull going into 2. Now, that may be a very, very hard swing because nobody wants Broad Bull going to 2. Right? So, maybe we can bring Broad Bull back to the extra deck. Zodiac duelists would be happy to see one copy of Broad Bull in their extra deck. Some of them probably won't even do it. They probably won't even add Broad Bull to their extra deck. They're happy with their one Trident, their Chakanine, and then of course the Vespinator and Zeus. But if you were given a Broad Bull back to your extra deck, would you play it, Zodiac users? If they took it off of the ban list, they took Broad Bull off the ban list and gave you one, would you use it? Would you use it? Alright, next up is another card that I have, and that's Super Thunder Dragon. Look, duelists are saying that we should get this back at 1. Because, again, it's draw stun. And Super Thunder Dragon, apparently to the eyes of many of you duelists out there, is a very needed piece of the Thunder Dragon deck. And Thunder Dragon decks have gone nowhere since it was banned. Oh, I have a deck profile that says otherwise coming up. I just have to get 2 more cards. Then, of course, they want Orcus Harpcore back at 1. Obviously, Orcus needs to get back in here at some point. Because Girsu isn't helping out. The deck needs to do more than just Girsu. The Mech Knight Orcus, whatever the heck it's called. That's an expensive card to come across from Etco. And I don't have one of them yet. The last card I think would be a nice little a little comeback, and let's take one. Let's see. Engage coming back? Hell no. We don't want that back. We don't want that back at all. Let's give the heroes a boost and put Mally back to 3. Yeah, let's not and say we did, Hellgear. Well, look at it this way. Even with Malicious at 2, hero decks aren't going anywhere. They haven't gone anywhere, period. I've seen a Celtic Guardian control deck do more in OCG than 2 Malicious and a hero deck going here. Because let's be frank, Nibiru literally breaks that glass cannon of a deck. Now, wouldn't it be funny if they limited Nibiru the Primal Being? Because it's being used a lot as a hand trap. That's probably the best hand trap of the format is Nibiru, because everybody's using that. Not everybody is using, using the golfer's hand trap side frame gear gamma. That'll be funny if they actually limit Nibiru to 1. I'll be laughing all the way to the bank. Then again, it got a premium gold rare, so that sure as hell ain't happening. That's all I'm going to say on my ban list predictions, with the exception of hopefully Super Poly going back to 2. Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for hearing me out. But for now, I take my cards to the box because I'm done. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.